After thousands of dollars and over 30 family camping tents, here are 16 of the best ones, starting with Core Equipment's 10-person cabin tent. The biggest reason I love this Core tent is for its peak height, which comes in at a whopping 90 inches. I measured the peak height of every single one of the family tents I tested, and nothing even comes close to the Core. Also, I have too many tents to fit into a single table, so I'm gonna give you the peak height of only the tallest 6 tents that I have, and then I just lumped the others into the last row, which have peak heights between 68 and 77 inches. One thing though, if you're not tall like me, I'm only 5'3", you might find this peak height a little too tall. I couldn't reach the top of the tent, so every time I wanted to hang a lantern or get something in the gear loft, I had to stand up on a chair to reach it. My bro could reach it perfectly fine though, and he's about 5'6", 5'7", so I'd recommend this peak height only if you're at least his height. The next tent is the Coleman Sundome 6, which is my first best budget tent. At a price of about $100, which is how much I paid for my Sundome, this is easily the least expensive, decent quality family camping tent. You can technically fit like 6 family members in here, but to be a little bit comfier, I'd recommend no more than 4 adults in here, 2 on each queen bed. Now, you may have heard of Ozark Trail, and you may be wondering, why not pick that as the best budget tent instead? Well, first up, the quality of Ozark Trail tents just aren't as good as Coleman. And second, their waterproofing is terrible, and the seams will start feeling damp after just 15 minutes of very, very light rain. On the other hand, the Sundome could survive about 30 minutes of heavy rain before its seams got damp as well. Unless there's no chance of rain at all, I wouldn't recommend the Ozark. If you need something a little bigger than the Sundome 6, then I'd recommend the Coleman Montana 8 instead, and this is my second best budget tent. The Montana is literally just a slightly bigger extended version of the Sundome. Both these tents have almost the exact same peak height of about 74 inches, but the Montana can fit 8 regular pads instead of just 6 pads like the Sundome. Also, the Montana can fit 3 queen beds instead of just 2 queens like the Sundome. There are 2 cool features that the Montana has that the Sundome doesn't. First, the Montana has a little porch area at the front of the tent, and I really liked that it kept my flip-flops cool instead of superheating it in the sun like the Sundome, which had almost no shade at all. And for the second feature, I'm going to keep you hanging a little bit and go through that in the next section. For now, I paid about $120 for my 8-person Montana, not too much more expensive than the Sundome, and this is a fantastic price for a budget 8-person tent. If the Montana is too small for you, you can upgrade even more and go with the Coleman Weathermaster tent instead, and this is my third budget family tent. It's not as budget friendly though, it's about double the price of the Montana. I think I paid about $250 for mine. But that price increase also comes with 6 extra benefits. 1, higher quality materials. The Weathermaster has thicker and more durable steel poles, while the Montana and Sundome have much thinner fiberglass poles. 2, a much higher peak height of 80.5 inches. 3, a removable room divider to split the tent into 2 rooms. 4, huge angled windows for ventilation in the rain. 5, 1 extra door. And 6, one of the doors is a hinged door. And this is the cool feature that I promised to tell you about. To use this hinged door, all I had to do was to grab the handle on the door, pretty much like a regular door at home, pull it open, step into the tent, and then close the door behind me. The Montana also came with this hinged door, exactly like the Weathermaster, and that's one of the reasons why the Montana is a little bit of an upgrade from the Sundome. As for sizing, the Weathermaster fits 10 regular sleeping pads or 3 queen beds, and I thought that this was perfect for just 6 people if you want to be really comfy. If you're considering these 3 budget family Coleman tents, here's a quick table summarizing the main differences between the 3 to help you out a little. This table is about the dimensions in each tent, and this other table is about the features in each tent. Feel free to pause the video here and figure out which one might be the best for you. If you've decided to go with the Sundome, a small upgrade that you might want to consider instead is the Sundome Darkroom instead of the regular Sundome, and this tent is also my best blackout tent. These 2 tents are almost identical except for Coleman's Darkroom tech. This is the regular Sundome in the middle of the day, and there's no darkroom tech. Now check out the Darkroom Sundome. There's a lot less light, and it's great for sleeping in a little more. I know that Ozark Trail also has their dark rest tents, but after 1 year in storage, the blackout fabric started degrading pretty badly and left this sticky residue on my fingers every time I touched the wall of the tent, which is really gross. I did not have the same issue with my Coleman blackout fabric even after 3 to 4 years. So, like I mentioned previously as well, I'd usually pick Coleman over Ozark Trail. If you need a screen room tent on a budget, don't worry because Coleman has got you covered as well, and I really liked the Coleman Evanston tent. This tent is pretty similar to the Sundome, just with the extra screen room in front, and that itself gave me an extra 42 square feet of space. Surprisingly, the total area of the Evanston 6 is actually about 20 square feet bigger than the Montana 8, which has a base area of only about 103 square feet. However, the biggest con is that there's hardly any rainfly protection for the screen room, so even in light rain, water gets into the screen room, not to mention in heavy rain. If you want this to be protected, you need to set up an extra tarp over the tent. I also really like Core as a budget brand, and they also have screen room tents, but these look really similar to Coleman's, and I think the same con of not having enough rainfly protection applies here as well. If you have triple the budget of the Evanston though, you could look at the Gazelle T4 plus hub tent, and this is the best screen room tent I could find. In full disclosure, I do not have this tent because it's gonna set me back $1.5 grand, which I sadly cannot afford right now, but I do have the regular T4. I love that these screen room panels in the Gazelle can be shut completely like this, making for much better protection in the rain. The panels in my Evanston cannot be shut, which is why it let in a lot of water, and I think the Core has the same problem. And yes, Gazelle is not a cheap brand, but it offers a lot more livable space inside the tent, much more features, and of course, much higher quality materials as well. Here's a table summarizing the key differences between my Gazelle T4 and also my Evanston 6. As you can see, there's a lot more that you get with the Gazelle. And since we're on the topic, if you're looking for the best instant tent, that's easily the Gazelle T4 as well. Out of all the family tents in this video, the Gazelle sets up the fastest and nothing even comes close. It also packs away the fastest as well, and you can pause the video to check out all these timings on the screen here. On top of this, the Gazelle's peak height is pretty massive for a 4-person tent, coming in at 77.5 inches. Notice that it's actually one of the tallest few tents in this video. It's almost on par with other much bigger 6-person and also 10-person tents, which is really impressive. It also has completely vertical sidewalls, and I could literally walk around everywhere inside the tent. I could also fit 4 people perfectly into this tent. Here are 2 double pads in my Gazelle, and I still had a little leftover space. Sadly, the Gazelle doesn't come in a 6-person version, but my second best instant tent does, and that's the Caddis Rapid 6. There are 2 main reasons why you might pick the Caddis over the Gazelle. The first reason is if you need to fit more people into your instant tent. The Caddis has a max capacity of 6, but I'd recommend at most 4 people instead on 2 queen beds like this. On the other hand, the Gazelle has a max capacity of 4, but I'd recommend at most 2 people on 1 queen bed like this, or maybe 3 people would be fine as well. The second and more important reason is if the Gazelle is too expensive at the time that you're checking this video out, the Caddis actually has a 25% lower retail price, but at the same time, the quality of the materials is solid as well. The flooring and the tent body are only very slightly less thick than the Gazelle. The poles are thicker and beefier steel compared to fiberglass, and you get micro mesh instead of regular mosquito netting. If you need a much larger family instant tent instead, then the best tent I've tested is from Core, and that's their 9-person instant tent. I could fit 9 regular pads inside this tent, and here's what having all 9 pads looks like. So you get a ton more space in this tent than if you were to buy a 4-person Gazelle or even the 6-person Caddis. And of course, here are some setup timings of the Core Instant 9 compared to other similar sized family tents. So we've got 8-person tents as well as 10-person tents. Notice that the Core sets up much quicker, anywhere from 1.5 times to more than 2 times more quickly than the other tents in this video. Same thing with the pack-away timings as well. The core is just much quicker than the rest of the 8 to 10 person family tents. If you need something even bigger, the biggest instant tent that I've got and that I would recommend is the Outdoor Products 10 person instant tent. It's slightly bigger than the core and it fits 4 queen beds without any space left, while the core only fits 2 queens, but it does have a lot of space left. And of course, it does fit 10 single sleeping pads if you really want to squish 10 people into this tent. Here's a very secret pro tip that I think no one else has noticed. Both the core and Outdoor Products have the exact same instant mechanism. The poles are identical, the hubs at the top are identical, and they even came with the exact same product tags. On top of that, the flooring, tent body, and rainfly fabric are all the same quality as well. The materials here are a bit more budget friendly than I would have liked, but I found the instant mechanism to be the best of the large family instant tents that I've tested, so that's why I'm recommending these tents. For you to get the best bang for your buck, go check out the prices of both these tents and then just buy whichever one is less expensive. Now, if you're looking for the biggest possible large family camping tent, the one I'm going to recommend is the Eureka Copper Canyon LX 12. I have the LX6, which has the same peak height as the 12, coming in at a full 7 feet. It has one of the highest peak heights of all the family tents here, second only to the core. On top of that, I could even stand up everywhere, even at the corners, which had a lowest height of 66 inches. And thanks to the near vertical sidewalls, I could walk around everywhere inside this tent. I think Coleman, Ozark, and Core all have 12-person tents as well, but I'm recommending the Eureka because it's higher quality. Compared to these budget tents, my Eureka has, for example, a lifetime warranty, higher quality materials like thicker and beefier fiberglass roof poles, and much better waterproofing. On the other hand, both Coleman and Core only have a 1-year warranty, while Ozark's is only 6 months. Their fiberglass poles are also much thinner, the materials are cheaper, and waterproofing isn't as good. I found it a little strange that Eureka doesn't have a 10-person model, so for the next best large family tent, since I can't recommend the Eureka again, I'm gonna recommend the Columbia Mammoth Creek 10. I tested the Columbia against 5 other 10-person tents in another video, and it did fantastic in all these 5 different tests, from space to quality. It also came in first overall, so basically the best 10-person tent that I tested. Here are some of my favorite features. It has the best room divider of all the tents in this video because it's completely full length and provides a lot of privacy. The T-door on the left of this tent is huge, most of the windows are nice and big for summer ventilation, and it even has 2 pull-out windows that I could leave open in the rain. And speaking of rain, this was my only 10-person tent to survive my 1-hour heavy rain test with no leaks at all. So far, most of the tents that I've talked about are 3-season summer tents, and this next tent is my only 3+ season tent in a family size. It's also my only family tent that has a full-length rainfly, which extends all the way down to the ground. So this base camp got through my 1-hour heavy rain test with no leaks at all. This, coupled with the large amount of fabric to mesh ratio on this tent, makes it the perfect family tent for off-season camping. My base camp is also the tent with the best storage options. First, because it has not just a big front vestibule, but an extra back vestibule as well for a whopping 52.5 square feet of additional space. The total square footage is super impressive, on par with all the 10-person tents that I tested for this video. The rest of the tents are much smaller, so I just lumped them into this last row. And second, the base camp has a whopping 14 pockets all around the tent, and also a mind-boggling 20 loops. None of the other family tents in this video even come close to what the base camp offers in terms of storage. The complete opposite of the base camp is the Wonderland, because it has the maximum amount of mesh possible for summer ventilation. The mesh doesn't just cover only the ceiling, it extends down the sides of the tent as well, and I think easily more than half this tent is covered in mesh. Meanwhile, none of the other tents in this video have mesh that extends beyond the ceiling of the tent. Here's a table summarizing my thoughts on the mesh to fabric ratio in each family tent. These are just estimations, but I did my best to measure any windows, vents, and ceiling mesh in each tent. And the base camp is probably way down there at 20%. On top of ventilation, the Wonderland is also incredibly spacious for a 6-person tent. This is the family tent with the best lowest height at its two left and right sides, coming in at a whopping 76 inches. No other family tent even comes close. And the center peak height comes in at about 81 inches, so basically I got the peak height, give or take a few inches, across the entire length of this Wonderland. And finally, we've got the North Face Wowona 6, which won 4 of my most important awards when it comes to the best family camping tent. When it comes to weather protection, this was the only family tent that I managed to put through a whopping 3 days of heavy afternoon rain. It was so heavy that my entire yard flooded, the bottom of the tent was completely underwater, and it didn't even leak at all. For the rest of the family tents here, I only managed to get them through at most some overnight rain, nothing as heavy as the Wowona though. I also put my Wowona through 15-mile-per-hour wind, and it held up completely fine because I had it all guyed out. And the Wowona has the most guy lines of any dome-shaped family tents here, plus the highest quality DACMX aluminum poles, so naturally it's the best against wind. For cabin tents, on the other hand, I recommend avoiding these if you're expecting strong winds, because they tend to blow away pretty easily. The Wowona also has the best vestibule of any of the tents in this video. If you're looking to take your family tent through some serious rains, this is a great feature to have for storing wet gear. Only 2 tents in this video have vestibules, and notice how the base area of the Wowona's vestibule is slightly smaller than the base camp's. But the thing is, livability in the Wowona's vestibule is much better. I could stand up in the entire vestibule and even fit 2 camping chairs with lots of leftover space for a table too. As for the base camp, while the front vestibule could fit a maximum of 2 chairs, the back vestibule couldn't even fit 1 chair, so there's much less livability. Now, you may be wondering why I didn't get any of these other family tents. These tents are all on my wish list. One day I'd like to buy and test them as well, but right now I'm broke because of this, so I could choose only one. Between the Wowona and the Nemo, I went with the Wowona because of the humongous vestibule. Based on these prices here, I thought the Wowona was a steal, and that's why I think it's also the best bang for your buck if you want a higher end family camping tent. And these 4 important reasons make the Wowona my top pick as a family tent. For reviews on more camping gear, check out these videos on the screen here, and I'll see you in the next one.